Have you ever felt like you're trying your best, but nothing's changing? Like you're stuck in the same place, still grinding, still hoping, but progress feels invisible? Yeah, I see you, and I've been you. Let me tell you something powerful. Every single day, life gives you two choices: stay exactly where you are, or rise, even just 1%. That tiny improvement, it may look like nothing today, but over time, it's the difference between being stuck and becoming unstoppable. You don't have to leap miles ahead. Just take one step forward. Be a little better than you were yesterday. Because nobody wakes up at the top. It's the quiet, consistent effort, the daily grind, that molds you into the person you were always meant to be. Every single day is an opportunity. Every challenge is a chance to sharpen your mind, strengthen your spirit, and build your future. If you're tired of standing still and ready to break through, drop a 9 in the comments right now. And don't forget to subscribe, because this isn't just another video. This is the start of your comeback. Real success isn't based on spectacular gestures, but on consistency, on showing up every day, doing the job, and being dedicated even when no one is looking. When you think of success, large dramatic changes and a moment that alters everything come to mind. What really matters is the cumulative effect of your daily activities, the habits you establish, and the amount of work you put in across time rather than any one event. Holding to a routine isn't always fun. In fact, it's not always easy. On days when you don't feel like working hard, when the finish line seems too far away, or when you're making too little progress, being consistent is more important than ever. If you want to be outstanding at what you do, you need to be able to keep going, even when you're not feeling very inspired or enthusiastic. You sow the seeds of success every day that you get up and give it your all, even when it seems like nothing is changing. The momentum grows with every little thing you do. It's like a snowball. It starts off little, but it becomes bigger and stronger as it rolls downhill. Consistency is a powerful but subtle force. It remains subtle and unassuming, although it yields noticeable outcomes over time. No need to make huge strides every single day. What's important is that you keep going and challenge yourself to become better, even if it's just little. It's tempting to believe that huge leaps are necessary to make a difference, that development must be massive. But in reality, it's the little things that add up to a big impact. Over the course of days, weeks, or months, even the smallest of your actions may have a profound impact on your life. Considering this, it's clear that no one constructs a home overnight. The process begins with placing a single brick on top of another and continues until a sturdy structure is achieved. Your own development and progress are subject to the same rule. The more you study, the more you put in, and the more modest challenges you take on, the more you're creating the groundwork for bigger things to come. These little changes add up over time, building a chain reaction that yields spectacular outcomes. Also, it's helpful to break down large, daunting tasks into smaller, more manageable items. A mountain may seem insurmountable from the base, but it can be climbed in a succession of manageable steps if you focus on simply doing one step at a time. You just need to keep going ahead. There's no need to try to conquer everything at once. A further advantage of baby steps is that they may be maintained over time. Little tweaks are easy to implement on a daily basis and don't need as much effort as larger, more revolutionary ones. The more you do it, the more it becomes a habit. And once a routine is established, success becomes inevitable. The most important thing is to remember that no matter how little the change or how slowly it occurs, you are still making progress. Have faith that improvements are on the way, even if you don't see them right away. You are confronted with options every single day as soon as you open your eyes. Every choice you make, no matter how large or little, contributes to making your identity and life trajectory what they are now. Every day, you have the capacity to shape your character by the decisions you make, even if they don't seem like much at the moment. The decision to click the snooze button and go back into sleep, instead of waking up early and starting your day with purpose, may seem insignificant at the time, but it sets the tone for the whole day. Your priorities and the importance you place on progress are shown by the choice to devote time to learning something new versus lazily scrolling through your phone. Even if these decisions don't seem important at first, they build your life's routines when you do them consistently. What makes you unique are the choices you make. You can never reach your full potential if you always choose for the easy way out, avoiding difficult situations. However, your character, perspective, and future may be transformed via the conscious decision to challenge yourself, seek progress, and welcome difficulties no matter how minor. You get to choose each day, and that's the best part. Every day, regardless of your situation or the difficulties you're experiencing, presents a chance to make choices that are in line with the person you want to be. Making the deliberate choice to improve yourself somewhat from day to day is what it implies. Not that you have to completely transform your life in a single sitting. You cast a vote for the person you aspire to be with every choice you make. Your vote will determine whether discipline or procrastination wins, towards progress or a halt, regarding health or disregard. These choices may not seem significant when taken individually, yet they shape your trajectory in the long run. A lot of people have an idealized view of success as something that comes suddenly, like a breakthrough or a lucky break that changes your life completely. However, the reality is far different. True success seldom comes quickly. Rather, it is the product of a methodical, patient, and persistent effort that pays off in the end. There is no end point. Rather, it is a lengthy and twisting route that may be difficult to traverse at times. In a culture that values immediate satisfaction so highly, the idea that success requires patience is one that many people find difficult to accept. Because of our upbringing, we want things to happen quickly, including incentives, feedback, and outcomes. But that's not how genuine, long-term success works. Piece by piece, everything comes together, and your efforts add up to the bigger picture. It's not about achieving a major goal all at once, but rather about achieving a series of smaller ones. The fact that it requires development is a major factor in the length of time required for success. Development is inherently a slow process. Neither becoming an expert nor creating anything really remarkable happens overnight. Learning, failing, adapting, and refining your technique is an ongoing process. You can grow from every failure and get closer to your objective with every stride you take. Do not hurry through this procedure. Being patient with oneself, having faith in the process, and realizing that every day's work is essential are all qualities you'll need. When you persist in your pursuit of achievement, you undergo a more profound change. Becoming the kind of person who can attain external objectives is more important than merely obtaining those goals. You learn self-control, perseverance, and the ability to pick yourself up when you're down as you go. These inside developments, which are as vital as the external accomplishments, are attainable only with the passage of time and the accumulation of life's lessons. Because true accomplishments need firm bases, success also takes time. Things tend to fall apart when you rush into building them without first laying the proper foundation. But if you invest in laying a solid groundwork, whether it in your professional life, your personal connections, or your personal development, anything you construct will be resilient and keep growing. Finally, you learn to value the ride because of the time it takes to reach the destination. Your accomplishments will have more significance when you put in consistent effort over a lengthy period of time. What matters is not just the outcome, but also the lessons you gained, the character you developed, and the challenges you conquered on the road. That's the secret to a life well lived. You can't escape life's unavoidable challenges, but your response to them dictates how you navigate them. It's human nature to want to avoid tough situations as much as possible. However, facing adversity head-on is the surest way to develop resilience, overcome obstacles, and achieve your full potential. Your perseverance, character, and knowledge of your own strengths are forged in the fires of uncertainty, difficulty, and adversity. Overcoming obstacles pushes you outside your comfort zone. When things are challenging, it's tempting to settle into habits and patterns that hold you back from reaching your full potential. However, difficulties force you to grow as a person, to think outside the box, and to draw on resources you weren't aware you possessed. In the face of adversity, when you are pushed to your limits, is when genuine personal development takes place. Things you can't learn by achieving success on your own may be taught by confronting problems head-on. The lessons you learn from setbacks, difficulties, and stumbles are invaluable for achieving success in the future. There is a lesson in every difficulty that may teach you something about life and yourself. What makes you unique is not the difficulty of the task at hand, but your reaction to it. Are you going to hide or stand up and face it? In the face of adversity, do you give in or do you find ways to overcome? Recognizing and embracing obstacles also helps in developing resilience. There will always be low points in life, but the ability to pick oneself up and keep going is crucial for success in the long run. You demonstrate your resilience and strength in the face of hardship with each victory you claim. Your ability to overcome mental challenges becomes deeply ingrained in your character, enabling you to confront similar challenges in the future with assurance and courage. Overcoming obstacles also helps in cultivating a mentality that is resilient. A straight line of uninterrupted development is seldom the path to success. Achievement is the result of keeping going even when things don't appear to be going well. Taking on difficult tasks forces you to persevere when the going gets tough. When you overcome obstacles, you realize that they are only a part of the path ahead. At last, obstacles show you your actual capabilities. When you've never faced a challenge head-on, it's easy to think you don't have what it takes to overcome it. However, when you're tried, when you're pushed to your limitations, you usually discover that you're stronger, wiser, and more resourceful than you ever thought. When you face adversity head-on and keep going, you'll discover your own potential. If you want to do anything significant in life, one of the most crucial attitudes you can acquire is a commitment to the grind. The grind refers to the repetitive, constant labor that one must perform on a daily basis, the kind of job that does not necessarily pay off in the short term. Showing up, putting in the time, and doing the job is what matters most, regardless of how tired you are, how hard it is, or if it seems like nothing is changing. The monotony isn't fun. Behind every accomplishment, breakthrough, and triumph, there is always a lengthy period of grinding, working quietly, pushing through obstacles, and persevering when others may have given up. This is the part of success that seldom gets spoken or celebrated. You will never achieve your goals if you skip the grind, which is the bedrock of success. A strong commitment to the grind distinguishes individuals who want success from those who are prepared to put in the work necessary to achieve it. While many aspire to greatness, few are prepared to put in the time and effort necessary to really achieve it. Sacrifices are necessary for the grind. Discipline is required. It begs you to forego temporary ease in favor of more substantial benefits down the road. As part of committing to the grind, you must also be willing to face the pain that accompanies progress. When things are easy, improvement is unusual. To achieve this, one must be willing to fail, push themselves to their boundaries, and persevere in the face of adversity. You learn self-control via the grind because you have to keep moving forward even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is what keeps you going when inspiration fades. When you put in the time and effort required to complete tasks, you eventually form the habit of completing them regardless of your mood. Your strength is earned through the work. Showing up and working hard every day is a great way to develop resilience. You are learning to persevere in the face of setbacks and a lack of immediate gratification. You might think of the cumulative effect of your efforts as the gradual erosion of even the toughest rock by droplets of water. Though it may seem sluggish at first, your efforts are building momentum that will lead to breakthroughs in due time. The willingness to embrace the long-term goal is an essential component of a grind commitment. When you put in the time and effort, you will eventually see results. But in the meanwhile, you'll learn to trust the process and keep going, because success is a process, not an instantaneous event. Every day that you put in the effort, you're laying the groundwork for future growth. The most important thing is to water the seeds often, even if you don't see any sprouts at first. Patience, trust, and persistence are put to the test to the fullest extent in the grind. One other thing you learn in the grind: the importance of being consistent. You need to show up every day, put in the hours, and repeat the process again. It's not about rare spurts of work. Over time, consistency adds up, and those who put in the most constant effort, who really commit to the grind, are the ones who usually end up standing out. You stand out from the crowd that quits at the first hint of trouble when you remain dedicated to the grind. You become into someone who consistently puts forth effort toward their objectives, rather than only discussing them. Sticking with it through thick and thin isn't about getting ahead on the outside. It's about developing your character. Being a person of integrity who values hard work, perseverance, and the long game is what the grind is all about. The emphasis is on the journey rather than the destination, which compels you to cultivate a development mentality. Real change occurs in the midst of the grind, so you learn to value the trip just as much as the end result. The temptation to cut corners is strong in a culture that values rapidity and immediate gratification. It is human nature to seek the easiest way to accomplish a goal, to avoid obstacles, and to reach the destination as soon as possible. However, in actuality, there are no fast cuts. There is no quick cut or shortcut to success. Not true success, but permanent success. Dedication to the process, time, and energy are necessary. Shortcuts may seem like a good idea at the time, but they usually lead to worse problems down the road. Taking shortcuts often results in unfinished tasks, insufficient comprehension, and gaps in information. While they may seem to be a quick way to the top, the depth you obtain is at the expense of speed. Faster travel may get you there, but you won't be ready to spend the night. You don't get the full benefit of learning when you use shortcuts. There is a purpose to every aspect of the voyage, from the first steps to the last push. Whatever you're working on, whether it's a talent, an attitude, or a craft, you learn something new every minute. These important lessons are lost when steps are skipped. Even if you succeed in the near term, your foundational weaknesses will become apparent when you look back. Rather than seeing them as hurdles to be avoided, we can welcome them as chances to grow and succeed. In the face of adversity, you emerge from these experiences more resilient and ready to face the future. You develop the resiliency, self-control, and expertise necessary to maintain success when you refuse to take shortcuts and instead choose to go through the process thoroughly. Achieving success by quick cuts is precarious. From the exterior, it seems substantial, yet it isn't strong enough to last. You won't be prepared to overcome the challenges that are sure to arise unless you put in the time and effort required to have a thorough comprehension of the subject. Use of shortcuts may make you feel like you're making progress, but they won't help you in the long run. True success requires a certain amount of stamina, determination, and persistence, none of which they foster. Conversely, if you want to achieve your objectives in the long run, you should take the long way. You learn to be patient, persistent, and to appreciate little victories along the way. You are investing in your future success with every step you take, no matter how tiny or tough it may be. By fully committing to the process and refusing to seek for shortcuts, you can guarantee that you will not only achieve your objectives, but also be able to sustain and improve upon them. People who have worked hard for a long time tend to be the most successful, and there's a good reason for it. Not a single step was skipped or a shortcut used. They vowed to become experts in their field, reflect on and improve upon their past failures, and hone their abilities over time. They realized that there is no shortcut to success, but that every step is vital. Using a shortcut could also mean giving up the feeling of satisfaction and achievement that comes from working hard for what you want. When you accomplish a goal after putting in the time and effort and triumphing over obstacles, you will feel a profound sense of accomplishment. Hard labor pays off in the end, making the win more satisfying and the accomplishment more significant. It transcends being just a byproduct. It becomes evidence of how hard you worked and how committed you were. The journey itself is just as crucial as the destination when one is aiming for lasting success. What keeps you going in the long run are the self-control you cultivate, the abilities you perfect, and the wisdom you gain from your experiences. The development that occurs when one gives one's all to the path is unparalleled. If you choose the easy way out, you miss out on this crucial improvement, no matter how tempting it seems. If you are willing to accept the difficulties, grow from them, and put in the effort, they will prevent you from being the person you might be. The most satisfying achievements are the ones that are gradually achieved with perseverance, hard work, and commitment. Real greatness does not come easily. Achieving your objectives and surpassing them requires knowledge, strength, and experience, all of which may be obtained by completely embracing the lengthy route ahead. To leave a lasting impression on the world and ensure that your beliefs, interests, and accomplishments are remembered long after your death is what it means to build a legacy. It's about more than simply making it big. It's about making an impression that sticks with people and becomes better with age. To leave a lasting impression, one must have foresight, dedication, and a goal that transcends material success. Establishing your priorities is the first step in leaving a lasting legacy. Finding out what you stand for, what you're really good at, and the issues you're passionate about are all part of this process. Knowing your legacy and making an impact on the world are two of the most important things you can do. Having a well-defined goal in mind is the first step in leaving a legacy that is reflective of your values and principles. Putting your vision into action is the next step after defining it. Leaving a lasting impression requires active participation. You have to put in the work and stay committed. It's all about committing yourself to achieving your values-based objectives. Every action you do, whether it's improving your neighborhood, climbing the corporate ladder, or inventing something entirely new, should be a stepping stone towards the influence you want to. Having a good influence on other people is equally important if you want your legacy to remain. The most important thing is not what you do for yourself, but rather how you motivate and encourage those around you. Being a mentor to others, sharing what you've learned, or giving to charitable organizations are all ways to help those in need. Your impact will go far beyond your own accomplishments if you put your money into other people and work to improve their lives. Resilience and persistence also contribute to building your legacy. It's about keeping going when things become difficult and keeping your eye on the prize. In the face of adversity, you emerge stronger. This is especially true when you're building something significant. Showing resilience in the face of hardship is a certain way to leave an impression that will last long after you're gone. Consistency is also key when it comes to developing resilience. It's not enough to just have an impression. You also have to make sure it keeps growing and changing. Inspiring people to continue your work, passing on your expertise, or creating systems to support your vision are all ways to do this. What makes a lasting impression are the ways in which your legacy evolves and is maintained by the generations who come after you. If you want to leave a lasting impression, you should think about how your choices will play out in the future. Think about the effects that your choices and actions will have on the generations to follow. It's about considering the long-term worth of your job rather than just the short-term gains. Your influence will be felt for many years to come if you create something that endures. Leaving a good mark on the world is the ultimate goal of developing a legacy. It's all about making something that helps other people, benefits society as a whole, and provides value. Creating anything long-lasting calls for commitment, foresight, and the desire to put in the work. Focusing on leaving a lasting legacy allows you to channel your efforts into something that will continue to impact and motivate others even when you're no longer here. Embracing the idea of always bettering oneself is central to the notion of being better than yesterday. This way of thinking is all about making little changes, like trying to improve upon yesterday by a little amount. The premise upon which this method is based is that excellence is not a destination, but a process that can be continuously improved upon. A new chance to become better is there every day. The power is in the little things you do every day that add up to your progress as a person, not in the lofty aspirations you have for the future. Your greater ambitions may be broken down into more attainable daily gains if you set your sights on becoming better than yesterday. Aiming to improve one's productivity, discipline, compassion, or knowledge somewhat from day to day is the essence of setting goals. Promoting an attitude of lifelong learning is a major advantage of this way of thinking. If you want to improve every day, you have to be open to new experiences and knowledge. To do this, you may need to learn something new, increase your knowledge base, or just take stock of your past actions and think about how you may do better next time. Maintaining your relevance, growing as a person, and overcoming obstacles are all outcomes of a lifelong commitment to learning. Improving oneself from day to day also promotes introspection. Improving requires self-awareness, which includes knowing where you are, what you want to achieve, and how you plan to get there. Being self-aware motivates you to strive for greater results and helps you find areas where you may make incremental changes. Keeping your bearings and feeling of purpose is possible via regular self-evaluation and the establishment of manageable short-term objectives. If you adopt this outlook, you will also be able to grow from your failures. Look at setbacks as chances to learn and improve, not as failures. You may always learn something new and improve your approach from your mistakes. Make sure that every setback helps you grow instead of hinders you by reflecting on what you've learned and making changes. Problems are turned into opportunities using this method. Being consistent is another key to improving from day to day. It's more about little, consistent gains than big, sudden overhauls. Maintaining a steady pace of work generates momentum, which in turn produces noticeable results over time. Slow, steady progress may not seem like much at first, but over time, it adds up to big results. The habits that lead to success in the long run are those that you cultivate through a dedication to constant development. Being resilient is another benefit of this way of thinking. Improving upon your performance from the previous day might help you overcome difficulties and setbacks. You perceive these difficulties not as impossible obstacles, but as necessary steps on the path to personal development. You can keep going when things become tough, have a good attitude, and keep yourself inspired when things get tough. Setting personal standards is another way to improve over yesterday. Use these milestones as a yardstick to see how far you've come and to toast your successes. You may chart a course for progress and keep yourself motivated by marking off attainable, little-by-little objectives. As you aim for ongoing improvement, these markers will provide as inspiration and guidance. The core idea behind always striving to achieve better is to have a growth mentality. It's about accepting that developing one's character is more of a process than a final goal. Personal and professional success are fueled by the habit of self-improvement, which is fostered via a focus on everyday improvements, learning from experiences, and constant development. In order to stay motivated and have a good attitude while working toward bigger objectives, it is vital to celebrate minor victories along the way. Small victories are the little things you do that add up to a big difference, even if they don't seem like much on their own. Staying engaged, reinforcing good behavior, and boosting general morale are all helped by recognizing and celebrating these achievements. A chain reaction of modest triumphs constitutes every major feat. You may keep yourself motivated by concentrating on these little wins along the way. In the pursuit of bigger objectives, it is easy to lose sight of these little ones, but celebrating them is essential to keeping motivation and drive. As long as you keep going in the correct path, even a little victory gets you closer to your big goal. Building confidence may also be achieved by celebrating little victories. Your confidence in your abilities will grow with each little accomplishment. As your self-assurance rises, you'll be more motivated to keep going and take on greater difficulties. Recognizing and rewarding yourself for these little victories helps you to maintain the good habits and behaviors that bring about continuous improvement. Plus, You'll be more resilient if you reward yourself for even little successes. There are always many barriers and failures along the long and difficult road to accomplishing major objectives. Even when development seems to be moving at a snail's pace, keeping a happy attitude and feeling of success is possible via celebrating minor accomplishments. These parties provide you a mental boost, so you can keep going even when things become tough, and you can remain devoted to your bigger ambitions. Recognizing even little successes may go a long way in making people feel good about themselves. Working toward a large goal may be a challenging process, and it's easy to lose motivation if you fixate only on the final outcome. The trip becomes more pleasurable and less scary when minor victories are celebrated along the way. It elevates the process from a list of chores to a list of accomplishments deserving of praise. One way to foster a growth mindset and encourage constant development is to celebrate even the smallest successes. Recognizing and appreciating little accomplishments fosters an atmosphere where everyone's efforts are respected. Each achievement, no matter how little, is seen as a stepping stone toward more substantial objectives, and this development attitude is fostered by this positive reinforcement. Achieving even little victories may be a motivating factor when it comes to planning and goal setting. You may plot a course to success by dividing up your long-term objectives into shorter, more doable ones. At each new mark, there is cause for celebration and introspection. This method gives definite benchmarks for progress and makes lofty objectives appear more manageable. Lastly, remembering and appreciating even the smallest successes helps to solidify the concept that success is a process, not an endpoint. It changes the emphasis from getting there to enjoying the journey and the little victories along the way. By keeping in mind that even the smallest of advances add up to a larger whole, this viewpoint keeps you interested and motivated. You may set up a positive feedback loop that encourages you to keep going by praising and commemorating these little successes. Before you may reach your ultimate goal, you must first achieve a huge number of smaller ones. Your development and commitment are shown by every step you take and every task you complete, regardless of how little it may seem. Rewarding yourself for even the smallest successes helps you feel good about yourself and gives you the energy to keep going when you hit a wall. As you go forward, remember to reward yourself for every step you've taken, no matter how little. Acknowledgements like this serve as more than simply a reward. They mark significant junctures that encourage more effort, boost self-esteem, and highlight your achievements thus far. Recognize and celebrate even the little victories along the way. They add together to make a remarkable story. Doing so will lead you to discover that following your aspirations is more than simply a destination. It's a journey filled with significant moments that motivate and inspire you. Persevere and let your enthusiasm be fueled by the minor triumphs you continue to celebrate as you strive for greatness.